Good day, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Unsung Heroes Show. Yes, it's a wonderful day, and today we'll be having a special guest with us. She is a senior lecturer at the University of Mines and Technology, Tarkwa, and she also doubles as the head of department of the School of Petroleum Studies. Yes, she's a very prominent woman on campus, inspiring both young and old. Yes, so we would want to go to her, not take any much of the time, and then listen to her as she shares her story and then some nitty-gritties that she would love to have with us. All right, so let's go on. Good afternoon once again, Dr.
Good afternoon, Andy. Yes. You are welcome.
Thank you very much. So, as discussed earlier, we want to have a little session with you, just to ask you a few questions and to know you more. Yes. Okay. So, we know that you are a senior lecturer in UMAT, but we want you to tell us your exact position. Yes.
Okay, thank you. So my name is Dr. Ohenewaa Kakra Dankwa. I am currently the HOD of Petroleum and Natural Gas Engineering Departments. And like you said, I'm a senior lecturer. Yeah. I've risen through the ranks, some few ranks, and I'm now a senior.
Wow, doctor. So you're a lecturer, a senior lecturer in UMAT. Were you always interested in teaching as a profession? I mean, in all your school years.
So growing up, the profession I saw mostly was the teaching profession. If I saw anything, because of where I grew up, I think I saw farmers, I saw artisans, and then I saw teachers, especially for the professional ones. I saw teachers, and then my family too, most of them were teachers. My father was a teacher, and then my siblings too, some of them had attended training colleges and the university, and had started teaching. So let me say I was familiar with teaching, and I think in my thoughts, I also felt I'll also become a teacher one day. That one for sure. It was in my mind.
Because of inspiration from family.
I would say that is what I saw. So I didn't really aspire for other things that was not or were not around. So what I saw in my environment, I thought of becoming one. I remember when we came to Accra, we attended police depot. So at a point, I also said I'll be a police woman. So basically, my environment actually had an impact on the decision I had in my mind. I mean, to become whatever I had I thought to become. But then the teaching was also there. So seeing the police also, I said I'll become a police. For that one, it wasn't driven by maybe providing security, but we had a police band that most of the time in the morning they will come around, they will play, sing, and I like singing, so I felt when I enter into the police, I can also be part of those who sing.
Part of the regiment.
So that is what actually inspired me, not maybe picking a gun to protect. No. So that was it. And the last thing was, my dad was a very strict person, a disciplinarian, and most time he will tell you that if you don't study and pass, he doesn't beg. So there's no way he would go to people to beg. Maybe I'm pass you into motion. Oh, he won't do that. My dad doesn't do that. The man that we know him to be, he wouldn't do that. He told us So in my mind, that one I cooked it in my mind that then I am going to into dressmaking.
Okay.
So that one was in the mind. I don't think it came
Yeah, as a
out.
backup plan.
I never wrote it anywhere.
Yeah.
Maybe if a teacher asked me to write about my future aspiration, so it was a backup plan.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So that is all. Not into the lecturing. I
Okay.
didn't even know so much about lecturing.
Just because of this around you.
So growing up, this was what I was limited with.
Okay. You are surrounded by teachers and those people. So can we know a little bit about your childhood, where you hail from?
Okay, so
progress in school.
I am from the Eastern region.
Okay.
I'm actually an Ekwapim, but we grew up in the Asamankesi area.
Yeah.
So right, that's the setting we grew up in. So you saw people who belong to your family because it wasn't a big town. You almost knew so many people. Environment where females who finish JHS didn't really do much. Either they went into, let's say, apprenticeship or possibly they gave birth. We had a lot of them dropping out of school even before they could, finish. So this is the kind of environment I grew up in. But then we had, by the grace of God, through my mom, who was a Christian, I would say that we grew up from a Christian background. Just her alone is something that actually has brought us far. So irrespective of the vices around us, I don't think we had issues with maybe dropping out or getting pregnant and then going into that kind of lifestyle. We were actually guided, and I think we had made a decision in our head that this is not the path we'll take. So we struggled through. We did our best until we moved out of that town.
So at which age did you move to Accra?
Oh, I think I was getting to the teenage. Or if not a teen, then because we continue from class 6. I am privileged to have attended Holy Child School in Cape Coast. So I'm a Hobson. I'm so proud about my school, and then I always thank God that I ended up there. Because like again, my background at the point when we're selecting schools, some people, even some of my siblings, thought that maybe the school could be too much for me. Maybe I wouldn't get.
Because it's a big school.
It's a big school, and mostly for the affluent at that time. The kind of people who would attend such schools. So it was like, why don't you pick the grade B school? But they were sure that I could pass. But like I said, my dad doesn't beg. So assuming you would need a voice to even, go there to explain things. Who will go on your behalf? So they were also concerned about that. But God being so good, I got enrolled. I passed well, and then I got my first choice, which is Holy Child School.
Wow. Okay. Being a lady as you are growing, in your profession, were there any kind of issues you faced with respect to perhaps stereotyping?
Okay. Even in my career, in my schooling, when I came to UMass, for instance, during our time, we barely had females around. There were some programs that there were no females. And if certain programs had females, we were just few. For my class, we were about 4 ladies.
4.
Just 4. But we even happened to have, I think, the number of ladies. Other class, none. Others, just 1.
Wow.
So we were not many.
Yeah, it would have been tough.
So the issue about you are ladies, when they're going, I did dramatic engineering, so we'll carry our poles and then theodolites and other equipment and then climb up the government hill. We'll get tired and the laughter will emerge from the guys that why are you worrying yourself? Your future husbands will take care of you. Why have you come? That kind of thing. jokingly or seriously, they were there. And even going through master's program, it was still the same. You met colleagues or other students, and when the going gets tough, it looks like as a lady, someone will take care of you. So why are you bothering? Yeah. So that thing has been there. And even sometimes at the workplace, thanks be to maybe empowerment program, and then certain female association that some of us have joined to disabuse our minds about the fact that women cannot make it, right? Even in Christ or as a Christian, we believe that God has created all of us in his image and in his likeness. And then God has endowed everybody or everyone with a certain strength and capability that he's looking up to us for us to live our life accordingly and be a blessing, create a better world. So with these notions from my counterparts males, it didn't actually, let me lose my guts or let me say lose hope or just resent back on certain decisions that I've taken for myself. But I saw that I could also make it. And like I said, guidance from other people and females who have done it made me to understand that though the path I chose was for males, it was male dominated, yet if you know yourself who God has created you to be, you can also make an impact there and then excel.
Can you mention names, or do you remember any of such people who throughout your years really helped you get you where you are now?
Indirectly, I would say my siblings had impact.
Your siblings?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Because even to come to UMAT, University of Mines and Technology, to do engineering, when they knew that it was male dominated in a way, supporting because they took care of me. I think by the time I came to the university, my dad had retired or so. So we had support from our older siblings. So the mere fact that they supported both forms for you to come was a great support for me, right? It means they believed,
they trusted
in me, and then they also trusted that I would do well. And then coming around, I also say indirectly friends. In fact, those days we barely had mentors. Like these days, you may even call a student just to let him or her appreciate that there's a need to get guidance from someone. We actually directly I didn't get that, but I'm saying that for someone or your siblings or your family to buy forms for you, come and do engineering alone, means that there's something they are seeing. Because at a point when I finished SHS, I was like, engineering, I wasn't interested. I said that it's not like someone suggested to me. I was like, I won't do engineering. But yet I came through, and it wasn't easy. Yet I have been through it, and let me say, coming to UMAT, that's the point that I've had support from mentors like Professor Grace Uforisapon. Right? Initially, you thought that you are not getting any guidance from someone, but then later on, you sit back and you realize that there's a word or a certain informal guidance someone gave to you that actually made a difference. And I can also say that even as it is now today, she still continues to inspire most of us, especially me, not just in the academia, my profession, but even in the life outside this campus. Let's say at home, right? So she has been a very, and then other females who are also here around have also inspired us, for me, because I've seen that they have been able to do it. If you have a female who is a professor in mathematics, then it tells that there's nothing you cannot.
You can also
you can also do so much. So even when you are struggling or you have challenges, you are still moving forward, right? Their presence alone propels you for not relenting, right? And then keep pushing so that you can also arrive at the top.
Yeah, if they've done it, you can also do it. That's wonderful. Okay. So I believe throughout the journey you had some down moments, right? Some very, very tough, challenging times. So can you share with us perhaps just about two?
Okay. So during my studies, for instance, I mean the going was tough. At a point, I did my master's at African University of Science and Technology in Abuja. And at a point, I was coming back home. I felt I couldn't do it.
Wow.
Yes, and I think my friends could even attest. It was very tough. I think last week I was also discussing with a postgraduate assistant who went to Canada to run some of her lab, and she was sharing her experiences. And I told her that I've been there, but for friends we knew whom we had gone there to do our masters, I wouldn't have continued. I would have come back to Ghana, and then I don't know what would have become of me, because I was bent on leaving because it was tough.
Yeah.
So I had to also encourage her that that's how it is, but you always have to press on.
Yeah.
And then the second thing is in the teaching experience, like I said, I had wanted to be a teacher, but then I wasn't so much exposed. So it wasn't about lecturing, university lecturing. As for me, I knew teaching, but I didn't have the mindset that it was the university I was coming to teach. So entering the university to start teaching, I had very little experience in teaching adults, though I had done people teaching to the younger students or pupils before.
Okay.
So maybe finding your feet, it is not easy. And I believe everyone also goes through that. But I wasn't aware. Like I said, we barely had mentors. I mean, people you can call and then go to for advice. So the guidance initially was not there. But later on, you realize that if you talk to someone to get mentorship, it will really help for direction. So at a point, I had to resort to getting to know how people had made it, and that actually made the road very easy till now.
Wow.
It was challenging. It was very challenging, and then we realized that the other people, it was actually professors from the Western countries who used to come around, and other African professors who lived outside their home countries, from the US, wherever, coming down to teach us. And we are used to the Ghanaian lecturers. And sometimes I say UMAT is a bit easy, though it is challenging if you compare it to what we experienced there. In fact, that one is on the higher side. And you are taking several modules at the same time, and every 2 weekends you are writing exams. Writing about two modules. You are taking two modules for 2 weeks. So every 2 weeks you are writing exams, and even in between there are examinations you are taking, right? It wasn't easy, right? And then catching up, doing the 2 weeks models alone was something else, because the materials are a huge calculation here, and maybe I had not trained my mind I had not prepared very well for that master's program, so I was actually overwhelmed with the way things were going. So I felt, in order not to fail, I wouldn't want to fail, but rather drop out of the program and come. Because that time, if you got, I think, 2 C minuses in any of the courses, 2 of them, they will give you a diploma instead of the degree. And I said, for me, if it should happen that way, I would rather leave before that thing happens. So I was bent on. But thankfully, I didn't experience that C thing. But it wasn't easy. I remember I had a B minus, and that broke me down for almost close to 1 week. I was mourning. It wasn't easy, right? Because it has impact on your GPA, and of course it was scary. So
so let's move a little bit away from academia. You are married, right? Yes. You're a mother as well, a wife and a mother who's a doctor. Wow. So at which age did you get married?
in fact, because of, let's say, my aspiration, sometimes when you are into something, when you are busy, some things you don't cry over them, right? So I got married, I think, in my mid 30s. Right? Okay. It wasn't because I planned to get married at that age, not at all. But that is what happened.
It's something that many people have confusion with, especially the ladies, as in how far they should go in academics before they should actually settle down their marriage. Can you give any advice on that?
Okay, me marrying at a later age has got nothing to do with my aspiration. Right? I had the notion that if marriage came, I would get married, but then I wouldn't lose sight of whatever aspiration I had. Yeah, so that is me. But then I want to advise ladies that though we haven't put any age to get married, if you marry early, it is beneficial, but you have to know who you are getting married to, whether that person supports
you.
your aspiration.
Okay.
I'm not even talking about finances. There are spouses who may not buy into the fact that, oh, it's enough, take care of the kids and then I'll bring the money home, so that you don't need to maybe do your masters or pursue your aspiration. But like I said, God has created us in our own image, in His own image and in His likeness. He has endowed us with certain strength, and He expects to see the benefit of what He has placed in us, right? Being a blessing to humanity. So you can't hide under what solely your husband does alone and say that as he's touching lives, that is also you doing. No, of course, you are all doing because he does that, but how have you shelved your own capacity, right? The strength God gave to you, you are not making use of that, right? I believe if two are better than one, if you pull the resources together and then you build that capacity, it will reach a lot of people better than one person doing. It may not be enough to reach so many people. So you have to know who you are marrying, whether the person supports the fact that, and I think you should discuss. I wouldn't encourage ladies to hide under the pretext of, oh, I want to finish everything. I want to do my master's before I marry. Of course, maybe masters can come early for you. It is okay because you can finish school at 22 or 21 and continue with your master's. It's possible. But if your age, you're advancing in age and marriage has come and then you want to finish all the level, including postdoc, I don't think that is so. So find out whether that spouse of yours is in support of the plans you have for your lives. You should discuss it thoroughly so that it wouldn't create a problem. I don't believe in a spouse asking you to lay down your aspiration and then just follow without any impact from your side to others.
Okay. Ladies should follow their aspirations, but they should also speak to their spouses, as in to make sure they are in one agreement that
they support such. Or when they will continue to support.
Around.
You have to be very sure, because maybe you get married and the person changes, say, oh, you have to be very sure. So both of you can even get guidance from elderly people. I mean, you may not know it all. You also need a mentor. Even as a married person or as old as you are, in that regard, you may need someone to help direct you.
Okay. In your speech, you've given a lot of credit to God. Yes. So you're a Christian, very religious. Sometimes, okay, personally, me, I've heard stories where in climbing the academic ladder, some people were forced to either stick to religion, as in continue believing in God, or to dump it aside and take, as in focus purely on academics and then the higher education, because they say that God and religion and then science or religion and education does not really click. Yes. So you being a doctor, you've gotten there and then you're still very religious. Can you clear our myths on that? Because
It's very key. You always have to fall back on how you have groomed yourself, that which concerns your salvation, and then Christ being your personal, your master, right? If you have that upbringing, or if you are grounded in Him, it is very difficult for what you are reading in books to tell you that the Christ you have believed and has brought you this far is non-existent, or you need to dump Him. But then for the one that is not grounded and meets any line, even on the social media, because there's nothing grounding him, anything at all can also get him to follow. So it is very important that each and every one of us, if you profess to be a Christian, or even if you're born into a Christian home, you have to find out from yourself and by yourself whether you are deeply rooted in Him. It's not enough just to follow people to wear your dress and go and sit in church. Ask yourself. Don't let anybody even find out.
Do I really believe?
Do you really believe? And what message have you believed? So that foundation has brought us this far. It's not as if we don't read what people write. We read. But there is nothing that can shake the foundation that has been laid for our salvation and our followership to this Master Jesus.
We would want to take one last question. Are there any virtues that helped you in your walk, in your rising?
In my JHS, I used to be one of the best, and then sometimes I'll top. So those moments are there, but let's say through SHS and then university, I don't think I was doing well, but I don't think I've been the overall whatever the best in the class. No, so I am not, but I strive to work hard to attain that which is necessary for my rising. And then I uphold integrity. I uphold truthfulness. For me, if you ask the student I teach, I don't joke with the truth being said or being told. I don't like beating about the bush, those dilly-dallying things. I mean, as if it is this or that kind of thing. I want the truth should emerge, and then integrity. And integrity, I tell students that it's not even about what someone is watching me. For me, I take integrity from how I even feel with the action I'm undertaking. How does it make me feel in the first place? Before someone gets to watch me and also will have their own impression about it. So I have the burden to always impress myself to be living according to that integrity I've carved for myself. First to satisfy myself and also to satisfy others. I don't like cheating, and if you ask me to change something for you, you cannot change my mind by saying that if you do it this way, no. That is me. So some may find me to be difficult, but it is because of the truth. In that light, I cannot bend. I'm trying to say that I can't bend the rules for anyone. And especially when someone is involved. So that what do you make of me? Forever is going to be with you that, you and I connived. But when I started lecturing, there was a student who was a first class, and I taught him. I came to meet him because he didn't start with me. So during his final year, I think he dropped from the first class. And then he called me that I can do something about his marks, right? So I told him, what can I do about? Then he said that I can write that I didn't mark his script well. And then he introduced me to how we correct results. Correction of results. You see, I became so nervous because I had just come maybe about in my second year or so, or third or so. So I did like I don't know about the rules or how our examination results are processed. So I asked him, how can I change the marks? He said you have to write correction of results and say that you undermarked or underscored him. I listened to all these. I think I was on my way to Accra then. And I received a call from him. So when he finished, and I said, hey, then why don't I know all these and you know the procedure like this? Then he said, as a student. Because that time the results had even left the department and was going to the faculty level for processing. For the senior members to sit on or the lecturers, right? So he mentioned a name, but then I told him, hey, I'm a Christian, you are too young to involve yourself in. So I have to make myself known to the person and what I stand for, what my values are. So for my younger people, I'll say that you should have good values, good virtues. That is not just in speaking, you speak that, oh, you are this, but then in doing, you are not. You should prove that indeed you are this. In the same way, I will not cheat anyone by reducing their marks. I will also not, be caught up with someone who needs extra mark to make a thing. I won't do that. And up to today, I am so proud of myself that I didn't koto. And I told the person that he should never come to me or even introduce anybody that has the potential to come to me on such matters. Yes.
If I picked anything, and I know resilience and then integrity, knowing what you stand for and then pushing all through to the end, and then the God factor too is there. You have to know the God you believed in and why you believe in him. Which message have you actually believed? Or anything just comes your way and you just believe it. All right. There you have it, guys. Just had a wonderful time with senior lecturer of the University of Mines and Technology, Dr. Mrs. Ohenewaa Kakra Dankwa. Yes, it was a pleasure speaking with you. We are grateful that you had time for us. Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you also. Thank you also for coming by for this wonderful session, and I wish you all the best.